So here we are just after the end of Sprint 1, and we have 4 different applications that have been developed in 4 separate branches. And the branches have been merged into the master branch, and enough work has been done to actually get it so that all of the applications will run. But there's been no attempt yet to reconcile the code and to fix the project structure. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have the latest version of everything in my local repository, and I do. And then I'm also going to go up to my downloads folder, and I'm going to make a new directory called backup. And I'm going to cd into backup, and I'm going to reclone the repository that I'm working on. So git clone https github.com pcc cis234a, and I'm working on the Java the Hut repository, so I'm going to make a copy of that. Now this is going to be basically an untouched copy that has all of the current stuff in it that I can use to copy and paste. And that's going to give me the freedom to sort of move stuff around and delete stuff and break stuff in the repository I'm working on. And I'll have a backup that I can copy stuff out of if I need it. So I'm going to start by opening the backup copy that I just made. And that's going to be c:\users, whoops. Anyways, it's Mark, downloads, should be a backup folder, Java the Hut, in a new window. So repos 4 is the one I'm going to be working on, and backup is the one that I'm going to use as my fallback. So here's the one I just opened, and I have to fix the project structure because the git ignore is ignoring most of the stuff. So let's go to settings, project structure rather. I'm going to set the SDK. I'm going to set my output folder. Users, Mark, downloads, backup, Java the Hut, and it's going to be the out folder. And then under modules, for dependencies, I want to make sure that I have my lib folder that has the JTDS library in it. And I do, so now I just have 2 copies. So I'm going to get rid of the one I just added. And sources, I want to make sure that my source folder is marked as a source folder and appears in blue. So that should be everything. And then just to make sure that I've done everything correctly, I'm going to launch the admin setup application and make sure it works. Good. Okay, so admin setup works, so my project structure is all set. I have a good backup that I can fall back on if I need it. So now here I am in repos 4, and the one that I'm actually going to be fixing. And I'm going to cd back into repos for Java the Hut. So everything is good. I'm on the master branch. So what I want to end up with is a logic package that has all of the logic from all of the different projects, and a data package that has all of the database stuff from the different package, from the different projects, and a presentation package that has each of the different GUI components for each of the separate stories. And so I'm going to start fleshing that out. I'm going to make a new data package, and we close that, and a new logic package, and a new presentation package. And then I'm just going to start with the first one. So for admin setup, I'm just going to, this one should be pretty easy. I'm just going to move files around. And so the DB connection and the database package of admin setup is going to go in the data folder. And I'm going to drag and drop it and select refactor. And then I'm going to rename this to be database.java. So that's going to be refactor, rename, database. So there's going to be one database class that's common to all of the applications, and I'm going to do the refactor. So this is empty now, so I can delete it. And then this launch folder, let's go ahead and rename that main. And do refactor. And then this main is going to move up to the source folder. So now I have data, logic, main, and presentation. For the logic, I'm going to drag and drop both of these two classes into the logic package at top level. And then for the presentation, this admin setup UI, actually, I'm going to get rid of the logic package and move this into admin setup. Now presentation is empty, so I'm going to delete that. And then I'm going to move this admin setup as a new package inside of presentation. Okay, so this is my final structure. Like so. And then all of the other data is going to go in here, all the other logic and so on. So I think I'm in good shape if this runs. So I'm going to try running main. And it still compiles and runs, and I could do some additional testing, but looks like I'm in good shape. All right, so the first one was easy. Second one is going to be this results reporting. So I'm going to start with the data class, and I want this to be database, and I want it to point to this database class here, but as an intermediate step, first thing I'm going to do is rename that to database. So refactor, rename, database, and refactor, and that's going to change all of the imports in here so that they're now pointing at this database class. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of this database class, delete it, and now I'm going to try to run results reporting again, and I expect I'm going to get compiler errors. Yeah. So it was loading the database class in the data folder, but now that's gone, and so I get cannot resolve symbol database. So I'm going to click on that and enter Alt plus Enter to fix the import. And that should have added an import for the source data database. So let me take a look at that up here. Yeah, so it's importing data.database. But I still have a problem here because there's no fetch results method inside of database. So this is taking a session ID, which is an integer, and returning an array list of results. So let's go to this database class. And here's the stuff that we got from admin setup before, but now we want to add the fetch method we were just looking at. So I'm going to go back here, fetch results, and then I'm going to pull up my previous copy. So here's my backup copy, and we're going to go to results reporting, data, Java the Hut DB, and I want fetch results. Fetch sessions. I'm probably going to need fetch sessions as well, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab both of these. So here's fetch results. And here's fetch sessions. Cut both of those out and then go to the one I'm working on. In database, let's go ahead and put these at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm also going to need the fetch sessions query and fetch results query. So here's fetch results query and fetch sessions query. And we'll paste them in. And then we have a little issue because the version of the database code from admin setup was using this connect method. And it was setting a static property called connection to be the connection. So that's right here. Whereas this version is calling a connect method. It's actually the same, but it's storing the connection in m under connection instead of connection. So to fix that, I just need to change this reference to connection. And same thing here. And that should be it for that file. So let's go ahead and try running again. I still expect we're going to have some errors in other files, but we'll see. So same deal here. We're in session.java. So I'm going to Alt plus Enter. And then let's try running it. Great. So results reporting works now. So let's try admin setup again, make sure that still works. So that's going to be this main here. Run that main. So here's admin setup. So now I want to get rid of this controller and this main. So let me take a look at the controller first. It just has a start method that calls show result table. So I'm going to get rid of this entire package. And then in my main one, actually in the main controller, let's resolve that first. But let's go ahead and comment this line out. And instead of making a new admin setup UI, let's make a new results reporting, presentation, GUI table. I'm going to move this into presentation. Actually, let's move this into here. Let's move logic into logic. I'm going to have a conflict on session, so I'll move these two. Oops. And then for session, I'm going to go ahead and delete that file. And let's rebuild the project. So Alt plus Enter to import the one in logic. And then same thing here. Alt plus Enter. And then probably have some missing methods, so let's run. Actually, let's just rebuild. Okay, so fetch session isn't defined. So here's the new session object in the session class. I'm sorry, session in the logic package. Here's my backup. And lots of stuff in here. So let's actually go ahead and I'm going to put all of this stuff in here. So I'm going to grab all of the content in here. Since this only has that one method stubbed in, I'm just going to paste everything in here. So this is the one in my logic package. And then this should be database. So that should be it. So let's go ahead and build again. Okay, so there's no empty constructor. So compare test ID. We're making a new session object. Test ID is a new array list. I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to be doing, but it's not initializing it with anything. So Boolean method which compares the current test ID 102 with the completed test 101. So let's look at the constructor for session. And it's got a session ID, session date, and so on. So for this one, I'm just going to hack it by creating an empty constructor. And then let's build again. Okay, so it built with no errors. So I'm going to go ahead and move. Well, let me get rid of this because it's empty. And that. And this is empty. And then this should all be presentation stuff. So let's go ahead and move that into presentation. And we'll do refactor. Good. So now my presentation has admin setup GUI and results reporting GUI. Let's look at what's going on in the controller now. So this is now in presentation, admin setup UI. So that's correct. And then main, that's correct. So if we run this, we should get admin setup. And then if we change this to be I'm going to assume it's GUI table. Oopsie. And let's import. Okay. Good. So there's the GUI table. I'm sorry, the result reporting GUI. And this one should still be admin setup. Okay. So that's two of them taken care of. We would go through the same process for test session and for user login setup, and at the end, we should just have all of our code moved into data logic main and presentation.